For years, whilst ship-to-ship refueling has been in-game in Star Citizen in the form of the Starfarer, it's probably fair to say it hasn't seen much uptake. That changes with the introduction of the new MISC Starlite, an entry-level refueling ship which joins the game at the same time as NPC refueling missions. So how does the Starlite perform in-game? I'm Forrester, and this video will review the currently flyable MISC Starlite, which is described on the Star Citizen website as a light refueler. For those familiar with other ship reviews on this channel, this video follows the newer format. It's split into 5 sections, starting with a ship tour, then reviewing handling and visibility, before combat performance, looking at the operating costs and profitability, and finally summarising. As always, I've included timestamps in the video description in case you want to skip ahead. And if you're one of the many people watching who isn't yet subscribed to the channel, you might consider it, not least so you can keep up to date when new ship reviews like this drop. And this review of the Starlite is based on performance in Star Citizen Alpha 4.8. And we'll start the tour of the Starlite by approaching from the rear and starboard side. Amidships, there's a release lever on both sides of the ship, which seems to drop down this centre panel and I suppose facilitate easier removal of the fuel tanks if doing so with a tractor beam. Then on the port side near the front is a fuel port, just decorative at this point. And to get aboard the ship there is an elevator accessed via a button on the front port side. Heading up, this elevator brings you into the middle section of the Starlite, which is described as engineering. On the port side there is component access and a fuse relay station. There is also an engineering terminal and a small weapons rack. On the starboard side is additional component access and a suit locker. To the rear of the Starlite is a habitation section. There's a small kitchen area. A bed for logging out in, which is labelled to double up as an escape pod but doesn't currently. And above the bed is access to the onboard ship inventory. Then in the starboard side of this section is a small bathroom with a sink and a shower toilet. Right at the front of the Starlite is the winch. This cockpit has a small fire extinguisher and the chair from which you can fly the ship. The Starlite comes with a signature MISC letterbox cockpit running around the front and sides. Accordingly, expect more limited visibility above and below the ship. The SCM limiter sits at 150 meters per second, boosting up to 340. At the limiter, the Starlite actually handles fairly well. It's not as nimble as a fighter, so it still has that industrial feel to it, but because the base translation rates are so low, the ship can keep up with the movement of the nose. The Starlite also has a rotating VTOL feature for the engines, although in most cases doesn't seem to need it. At nav speeds, the Starlite will max out at 970 meters per second, and at those speeds is notably more sluggish. The stock quantum drive is a Goliath, which offers a fair balance between speed and range. The Starlite comes armed with 4 size 2 weapons, defaulting to Badger laser repeaters. 2 are located on gimbals to the side of the nose, and 2 on a remote turret atop the ship. The Starlite does carry 2 size 1 missiles with low damage output, but may help against smaller targets at range. Defensively, the Starlite is equipped with 2 size 1 shield generators. Ordinarily, this part of the review for an industrial ship headlines that since it's an industrial ship, combat isn't the main priority. And that's sort of true for the Starlite, except for the fact that the current implementation of refueling contracts often results in combat anyway, and sometimes that combat is hard work. The armament aboard means the Starlite is only really effective against smaller targets, but many smaller targets can run rings around the ship, as the slow turn rate makes it tedious to actually fight with. Using the remote turret only can make things a little better, but it's still not easy. So combat with a Starlite is not an ideal experience. Thankfully, the Starlite is cheap to run and makes a nice profit. Expect base maintenance costs for the ship itself to be in the hundreds to low thousands of credits, with a few extra thousand to put fuel into the refueling tanks. The logical and best way to earn money with the Starlite is to run refueling contracts. It's a fairly chilled out experience, especially when combat isn't included, and the Starlite more than covers the cost of the fuel when doing so. Many pilots report being able to return hundreds of thousands of credits per hour doing so. In terms of upgrades, I'd be tempted to swap out the Quantum Drive for an Atlas or similar, mostly for the reduced cooldown. The Starlite is a cute little refueling ship, if that's the right word. It's fairly easy to fly, and the refueling process is quite chilled out compared to the Starfarer. Fly in front of Buddy, press M to enter refueling mode, Alt and N to dock, then toggle the switch in the cockpit to bring down the refueling screen. Then it's as simple as set your prices and open the nozzle for the right type of fuel and watch it flow. Especially for contracts that involve no combat, it's a nice little game loop. The main criticism would be that the Starlite holds 2 tanks to be used for refueling, but that each tank can only hold either quantum or hydrogen fuel. Because refueling operations seem to involve refueling more hydrogen than quantum, it's common to run out of the former while still having loads of the latter. It also means that the Starlite needs to return to station itself regularly to refuel or call for a tanker. Also, sometimes if you're in third-person camera, the refueling boom has a jarring effect on Connect. It's a visual-only bug, but isn't ideal if you're trying to get nice screenshots of your little Starlite. But the Starlite is a pleasant little industrial MISC environment to fly in. It handles fairly well at SCM speeds, has small creature comforts like a bed and an engineering terminal, and the model has lovely little details around it too. Another nice element is the price. As a starter refueling ship, a brand new Starlite comes in at $55 to $60. As a newly released ship, there is no in-game price at time of recording. Whilst not a generalist starter, it's a nice entry-level price for somebody who enjoys industrial-style gameplay, and at the moment, the specialized game loop makes enough money to unlock a next ship. There are still better choices for all-rounders out there, like an Aurora Mark II, but for somebody who has tried the Starlite and likes the style of refueling, the price is probably fair. Or is it? I look forward to reading your thoughts in the video comments. If you enjoyed this video, you might press the like button to help me understand what videos to make more of in future, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, that might be a wise click so that YouTube knows to show you more videos like this in future. But otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.